Hey everyone, I'm PRXBT and I'm a challenger player on EUS, and as we see I've been playing on NA recently. I'm about to get challenger there basically. Just gotta play a few more games I think. Anyways, today I would like to bring you a new guide on the new flavor of the week or flavor of the month build that is being played in Korea right now. So I've been spending a ton of time analyzing the games over in Korea and watching a lot of their top players stream. And what I've noticed is that Evelynn has become the most highly contested unit in the game right now. Pretty much everyone wants to pick her up, and she does extremely well. She's being put into many different team compositions. Um, she's being put into like sorcerer comps, demon comps in general. Like she's even being put into like Void Brawler comps. She's being put into assassin comps. Ninja Elementals are back with her as a carry mainly and not a Kali. So she's being put back into a lot of comps, or being put into a lot of comps for the first time really. And she appears to be the most contested unit right now. And there's one build in particular that I see repeatedly in Korea, which is aimed at making her as powerful as possible. Because a lot of other comps don't have her as the main carry. This particular build does it. It's aiming to buff our Evelynn up as much as we possibly can. So there's going to be 6 core units you want. These are the 6 core units we're going to want at either level 6 or at least level 7. You want Evelynn, who's going to be your main carry, and you want to itemize Evelynn, and you want 3 core items on Evelynn. So the 3 core items that you want on Evelynn are always the same 3 items. You want a Dragon's Claw, amazing. It's going to allow her to like basically not take damage from any abilities. She's going to survive for a ton of time. You want a Guardian Angel on her also. If she revives, then she can clean up fights afterwards. Similar to Rengar, like, even if you lose a fight, you won't be losing the fight by much, and if you do lose, you'll lose health very slowly. So again, it helps you get into that top 4 very easily. However, this comp does skill very well, I found. Also, the Hextech Gunblade it's a decent damage item on her, but also she's going to basically heal up to full health from 1 execution if her ultimate goes off. And you don't focus on building damage items on her. You don't want to build like Death Cap or I don't know, other damage items on her because she doesn't need the damage. She needs the tankness. Her ultimate already deals enough damage, and as a demon, she's already gaining mana off some autos now. So she's really strong, in a very good spot, and this is how the Koreans prefer to build her. If you don't get these exact items, then you could instead build items such as Warmogs. Warmogs instead of Hextech Gunblade would probably be better. You could build like a Phantom Dancer. Um, Yeah, you could turn her into a knight, as we'll see later. So there's quite a few things you could do. You could build a Seraphs. Quite a few items that are good on her, but this is the best 3-item combination. You want a secondary carry along with your Evelynn. In this situation, it's going to be Brand. Brand is also one of the most contested units in the entire game right now. People prefer to be contesting, using Brand along with Evelynn as the secondary carry to help Evelynn. Evelynn and Brand actually synergize extremely well together. The reason why they synergize extremely well together is because Evelynn can like jump in and she's going to ult, right? But it's burst damage. It's not very consistent. And so her ult can take a long time to proc quite often. And therefore, you want to have Evelynn ult, but then the person she ulted might not be dead. And that's why Brand comes in so useful, because Brand can ult after and finish the targets off, but also Brand might ult before Evelynn, and his ultimate is going to bounce off several targets, and then the targets will get low on health, and because of that, Evelynn can actually finish everyone off. So Brand is the perfect partner to Evelynn, and Koreans love to put Morello Nomicon onto Brand. It is a very good item on him. They prefer to put it on Brand rather than Sejuani to boost his damage. And his ultimate will hit a lot of targets as well anyways. That being said, other good items on Brand would be attack speed items in general. So Rage Blade is very good. RFC is very good. Static Shiv is very good. Shojin Spear, very good. Hush isn't bad. Curse Blade isn't bad. But I would focus on the attack speed items that also give some mana or AP. Although RFC is also great because he can just stay in the back then. And then other than these two, you're going to want Leona and Braum for 2 Guardians. Quite essential. You want to buff up your Evelynn and give her a double Guardian buff in a lot of cases, although you could also position her to hit another carry, like that. That would be fine. If you're in the late game, you could position Evelynn on a specific side to target the enemy carry more. That would be fine. And also double Guardian buff on your main tank also, or like some frontliner. So in this case it's Sejuani. It could also be, for example, Aatrox, maybe some other knight like Poppy. And then you want 2 knights, but Sejuani is actually the essential knight that everyone wants. Sejuani's AoE CC is huge. Poppy is also very good, although later in the game you might want to switch Poppy out for Kale, or if you go with 4 knights, you keep. As we see, there's going to be some variations of this we can go into. This is only 6 units, and notice how there's quite a few expensive units, so we don't expect to get this at level 6. Rather, this is just what we're aiming for, and maybe at level 7 we try to get these 6 units whilst we build towards a team that can work into level 8, or use a spatula to get some more synergies going. But we usually do not end up with these 6 units at level 6. It's very hard to do, and we have to get extremely lucky for that, but it's what we're aiming for at level 7 or level 8. So let's talk a bit how to get that. So the start you're looking for is typically going to be some kind of a knight start. We will end up getting at least 2 knights and sometimes more. So knight starts are usually very good. It doesn't really matter which knights you get. And with the knights, you want to develop that team. You could even just get 4 knights early in the game. That would be totally fine. So let's say you get 4 knights, and then you can have 1 carry at level 5 or something. And you want to pick up like any demons you can as well, because as we will see at level 8 or level 7, you want to have either 4 demons or 4 knights with this comp, including your guardians as well. So you see any knights, you pick them up. You see any demons, you pick them up. Varus is a very good early game demon to be picking up. And usually an ideal team composition in the early game would be to have 2 knights with anything. So 2 knights, 2 demons with anything. So two demons with anything. So here we got Varus and Aatrox with 2 knights. It could be Evelynn. If you pick up an early Evelynn, that's great, and you can start immediately itemizing your carries. Like if you pick up Aatrox, you have 2 choices. You can either keep the Aatrox later, in which case you may not want to put all the items on him, but if you want to put items on him, you can put Evelynn's items on Aatrox, sell him later, put them onto Evelynn. In the late game, Evelynn will be a better carry than Aatrox in their current states in this patch. And Evelynn will win more 1v1s than Aatrox. As for Varus, Varus can be great at carrying Brand's items. So if you find an early Varus and you upgrade him, you can keep him until you upgrade Brand to tier 2, for example. That would be really good. And going back to Aatrox, you could also intend to keep him, intending to go for 4 demons, in which case you might have to like split items with Evelynn. That's also not too big of a deal. If you want to split items between Aatrox and Evelynn, because they use similar items, that's not going to be too big of a deal. But basically, yeah, any 2 demons start with knights will be good, and then just pick up Braum as you go, pick up Leona as you go, pick up any demons, knights, and guardians as you increase your level. Basically, regarding leveling and econing, this isn't an econ or leveling guide. However, you do want to stick to a pretty standard plan. Usually you'll level up after the Krugs, and once again you'll level up after the Wolves to level 7. But other guides will cover that in more detail. Let's talk briefly about itemization for our other carries. So if we pick up Aatrox, for example, and we go with the 4 demon route, he could certainly be another carry. In that case, he could also use basically Evelynn's items, as we were speaking about earlier. Although you don't really need a Hexagon Blade on him. If you get too many Morellos, you could put a second one on Sejuani. And as we see, these 2 units can also use spatula items. So Aatrox could use a Knight's Vow really well, and that would allow us to get 4 demons and 4 knights later. While Sejuani could use Darkin extremely well, and that would allow us to get 4 knights at level 7, as we're going to see. So these are some other items that you should highly be considering. As we see, there's good use for spatulas with this comp, so picking up an early spatula is never bad, although definitely not essential, and maybe not even preferred. It could be totally fine to have a no spatula game. Okay, so let's talk about what we're aiming for at level 7, because as we spoke about earlier, there's 6 core units we want, but we usually won't get them at level 6. We'll usually try to be finding them at level 7, and then at level 7 we want to complete a team. So one of the best ways to get a very early and strong spike is to use a spatula, and right now it seems like the preferred spatula item would be Darkin. It gives demon buff, and with Darkin we can very easily get a 3rd demon. So at this point we're at level 7, and we've got our Evelynn as a carry, we have Darkin on Sejuani, and we have our Brand. He's got a Morellos. And it might be, instead of Brand, maybe we didn't find Brand 2 yet, so we're still using Varus. That's also perfectly fine. And then we got Aatrox. Maybe he doesn't have an item yet, since it's still early in the game, and maybe Evelynn is missing 1 item, who knows. But yeah, we get the point where at level 7, and with a Darkin, we can add in a 4th demon. And the Darkin should go in Sejuani. Darkin Sejuani is extremely powerful. It's going to allow Sejuani to ult almost instantly. She gets a higher mana pool from the start of the fight, and also she's going to be able to gain mana quicker. If you don't find Aatrox, that's totally fine. It doesn't need to be Aatrox as the other demon. Morgana also works perfectly fine, although personally I prefer Aatrox, but that's just personal. Okay, so over here, this is a version with Knight's Vow. Knight's Vow is also a great pickup. It's not as preferred as Darkin by the Koreans, but it's like the second choice for a spatula item. And basically you can make somebody a knight. So in this situation I made Evelynn a knight. It could also be good in this version to use Aatrox instead of Brand and use Knight's Vow on Aatrox. That way we still have a GA on Evelynn later in the game maybe. But Either is fine as long as you got some support for Evelynn. And then you get a fourth knight. So obviously the other knight that's preferred would be Kale. However, if you can't get Kale, you could always, use any other knight until you find Kale, and you'll still have 4 knights at this point. Again, a very good early game power spike. Okay, over here we've got the frozen mallet. This is, I think, the least preferred use of spatula by the Koreans. They don't value glacial so much. However, I could see some uses for it. It doesn't seem too terrible. You could put in another glacial. Here I got a Nivea, though you could put in, I don't know, maybe Volibear or Ash. And then if you find, like, let's say, if you use Ash, then at level 8 you could get 2 rangers with Varus maybe. Or you could do Anivia, and then at level 8 you could get Cannon, right, to be getting elementals. So I don't think the glacial spatula is terrible, although it isn't the preferred one. It would be darkin, which is preferred. Now, finally, here we are at level 8, and this is where you can just create a team comp without needing a spatula. This is what you want. If you don't have a spatula, then you can upgrade to level 8 and get 4 demons. The preferred 4 demons would be Evelynn and Brand, and then Aatrox and Morgana. Swain could be in for Morgana as well, although Swain isn't essential, and Brand is basically just a better version of Varus in this team composition. Finally, you got 4 knights. I'd only suggest this if you got your Kale, really. If you can find an early Kale, then you can go with this variation and get 4 knights. Kale is a very strong unit, and you can put some items on Kale maybe. And this would also work well. But otherwise, I would recommend generally to go for the 4 demon variation. But otherwise, there's a lot of other variations you could do and try out. I'm not telling you exactly what to do. These are just some of the most common and some of the variations which first come to mind and are very simple. Okay, so just remember that these are the main units you're looking for. You're basically looking for Evelynn and Brand, and then 2 Guardians and Sejuani and 1 other knight to support Sejuani for the knight buff, and then you're looking to create a team from that. Where you go from this direction is very versatile, but this is the core team you're looking for. And if you can't find Brand, you can just use Varus until you find Brand in the late game. That's going to be it for this guide, or the video version of it. I'm going to post the Reddit link in the description below, and all the timestamps will also be there. The reason I'll do that is because I'll be doing a Q&A, so any questions that are asked will be answered in a Q&A format rather than individual answers to everyone. I find it a lot simpler that way. Thank you for watching, everyone, and I am abusing this comp right now in Challenger ELO, so make sure to check me out on Twitch, www.twitch.tv/PierreXPT. Peace. Also, in the description below, I'm going to link a video from my Twitch stream where I ended up beating a stacked Nobles team in the late game, which I really didn't expect because, Nobles are supposed to be the strongest team in the late game, but somehow I actually managed to win with this team comp, basically. And finally, I did join Pro Guides as a analyst, so if you're interested in some more VODs from me or some more videos, then make sure to check them out. Thank you. Bye.